Hello, everybody. Welcome to my podcast, More Than Couture. I am your gracious, humble, not too humble though, because I'm a Leo, host Kivani Couture. And I'm excited for you to be here with me today because this is my very first episode of the podcast. So go ahead, follow the podcast on the podcast platforms as well as subscribe to the YouTube channel, which the YouTube channel is Kivani Couture. There will be a visual available on YouTube and Spotify and listening on all the other platforms. So let's get into it. As you guys can clearly see, I am a Black woman and I speak from the perspective of being a Black woman. I recently turned 30 not too long ago. I've been 30 for about 3 months now, and I really can't speak on the perspective of dating in my 30s because I have not dated in my 30s. Pretty much from the time I turned 30, I kind of went on a hiatus from dating, and then recently I reconnected with my ex-boyfriend, which we never really disconnected. It's a long story. We weren't ever not on good terms or anything like that. But, we just haven't been talking to each other for the past year. So we recently reconnected. He lives in another state. I live in Virginia. He lives in Florida. He's in town for Thanksgiving. So I seen him yesterday for the first time in 2 years. So that is the extent of me dating in my 30s. It's not really, do you consider yourself dating your ex? Is that a thing? Or y'all just working out your shit and, either y'all gonna get back together or y'all gonna fall back apart. So yeah, at this point in my life, I'm kind of at a, I'm not really trying to waste too much time. I don't think there's anything wrong with dating for fun at the age of 30. I highly, one of my friends, I'm like, girl, get out here, date, do the damn thing. And she is doing the damn thing. But also she is in her mid 30s. And also she has been married before. She has children, So for her, it's a little bit different than myself, who doesn't have any children. And I've never been married before. And, for me, that is something that I want to do. But also, I'm not willing to sacrifice, my standards or lower my standards just for the sake of getting married and having kids. For me, I have to be married before I have kids. So if I don't get married in my childbearing years, then I will not have children. Shout out to the people that, do the damn thing and, they go through to sperm banks and I don't know what this shit is called. The people that be freezing their eggs and all that stuff. I don't got money for all that. But shout out to all y'all. They just, decide that they want to be a single mother. Or they don't want to wait. I am not that girl. For me personally, I feel like I want my kids to have the best chance in life. And for me, that is growing up in a 2-parent home with a healthy relationship between the parents. And that is what I want. I grew up in a 2-parent home. The home I'm currently in right now is actually my parents' home. My parents are separated. They have been separated since 2019, I want to say. 2019, and they both moved out of the house. So I live here with my sister and her dog, and it's a 5-bedroom house. And I think that it was beneficial to me. Obviously, that's beneficial to me. But just the having the option of staying in a home, that my parents, bought early, in their mid-20s or whatever. I want my children to have that same experience if me and my significant other ever decide to get a divorce. And it's just like, okay, well, we'll leave the house to the kids. Like, I want that for my future children. Or, like just buying a house, paying the house off, and like, okay, well, one of my children can live there. Like, I want that for my children. And not that a single mom can't accomplish that, or a single parent in general, because there are single fathers out there, but it's less likely. Um, Not that I want my kids to be spoiled brats, but low key, I do want my kids to be spoiled brats. Like, I just want to give my kids the world. Like, I just want them to be able to go to any college they want. And, like, we ain't got to think twice about it. I just want the optimal situation for my child. Yeah. So, today we're going to be diving into dating and dating as a Black woman, and coming mostly from the perspective of dating in your late 20s, because I just came out of my 20s. So I want to start off by saying, as a Black woman, often in society it is portrayed that we are masculine and aggressive. Also, just generally speaking, like, we are the least desirable and the least tolerable. And that is foolishness. That is couldn't be further from the truth. Like, I am super girly. Like, I'm like the most girly girl that exists on the planet. Like, I had my very first car was a pink car. Like, the stool that I'm sitting on is pink. Like, you can see in the background. If you're watching, we got pink candles, we got roses and flowers. I did this arrangement. I thought I did something. Let me know if I ate in the comments. But for me, I love flowers. I like high heels. I like getting my hair and my nails done. And it's so crazy because, like, I have 3 sisters and they're pretty much all the same way. Everybody likes to keep their hair and nails done. My mom is the same way. And I have 4 nieces. My 2 older nieces are 5, and they're both also super girly. They already like to get their hair done. They like to paint each other's nails. They like for me to do their makeup. They're like super girly. So I mean, like, even like, and that's 3 different generations of women, like my mom, my sisters, and then my nieces. And we're all Black women, and we're all super girly. And I'm just like, you know. And as far as us being quote unquote undesirable, I see that stuff a lot on the internet, and I think it's the loud minority that is speaking. For the most part, most Black men marry Black women. I believe it's like 85% of Black men that are married to Black women. So the narrative they kind of try to paint online is not, it's not true. So, there are Black men who date outside of their race, and I don't think there's anything wrong with dating outside of your race. Like, I feel like if you're dating for love, then it doesn't matter who you date. But I feel like a lot of these men are just dating to get away from their Blackness. It's really weird. Like, the ones that parade their other race girlfriend, wife, whatever, it's like a personality trait for them, like being in an interracial relationship, and that's weird. That is so weird. I don't like that at all. Also, from someone that is in their 30s now, I more so pay attention to like this narrative about women in their 30s, and it's, weird. It's also weird, but I don't really hear this narrative from the black community. This is mostly something I hear from like other races, as far as like women in their 30s are less desirable, which is weird because like a woman is in her prime in her 30s, like her sex drive is higher, like you peak in your 30s. I think especially like single women like that don't have kids and stuff, like we peak in our 30s. Like look at me. I'm fucking gorgeous. I was at a grocery store one day and a guy was like, the people that be standing outside of the grocery store. And the man asked me, he was like, and I wouldn't even say man, he was very young himself. He looked like a college student. He was like, yeah, are you at least 21 years old? And I was like, oh yeah, like I'm 30. And he was just like, what? Like he was losing his shit because I was like, yeah, I'm 30. He was like, oh my God, you look amazing. Thank you, darling. Like, how would you even know like a woman is in her 30s unless you ask? Like, I'm aging like fine wine, honey. I don't understand. Like, for me, I just feel like I'm eating the girls up. I'm eating the girls up in their 20s. Like, who is you trying to compete with, honey? Can't be me. You feel me? And I really want to say, I mean, I kind of stated it at the top of the podcast as far as what I want for myself, but I also want this for other women. And this is for all women. This has nothing to do with your race or anything like that. I know like once you get into your late 20s and you get in your early 30s, in that age range, it's so easy to just settle for whoever you're dating at the time because you're kind of in a rush to get married, or you feel like you have this time frame for which you need to get married and have kids. I know at the beginning of this year, like I had like a whole mental crisis because I was 29 years old. I did not have a boyfriend. I don't have any kids. I'm like, the previous person that I was dating at the time, you know, things didn't work out. And that's another story for another day that I'm definitely probably gonna, once I make a Patreon, I'm gonna start spilling like all the tea, like the dramatic stories, like the crazy stories. Is definitely gonna be on Patreon. And that like whole dating experience was nuts and definitely will be on the Patreon. Probably be one of the first or the second story up there. But I was just like, well damn, like what am I gonna do? And then it's just like, after 35 it's like considered to be a high risk pregnancy and all that shit. you know you know how it goes. But I just want to encourage you all, don't rush, don't settle. I know they say like 35 and up is considered to be high risk, but it's a generalization. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't think like they were studying all the races when they did that. I think they were studying white women when they came up with these numbers. So and I say that because it's like, I don't want to offend the white community, but the other races do not age at the same rate as white people. Like if you look at like Asian people, black people, Hispanic people, Mexican people, the melanated folks, we age slower than white people. And I don't think this 35 thing is across the board for all of us. I just don't. So don't be rushing. And even if it is a high risk pregnancy, like you're in a better financial position, you're just, you know, you're just better off. You just be better off for your child. Like, you know, Halle Berry, Janet Jackson, Kenya Moore, all these people, they be having these kids at 40 and 50. Not that I encourage anybody to do that either. Obviously, these people like have money and they freeze their eggs and they have all types of resources that, you know, they can use to do all these things. And for me, once I'm out of childbearing age, I do not want to be the older mom. I don't. I don't. I don't want to be 60 years old at the damn graduation. That's just me. Like I said, I have nieces. I have 4 nieces. You know, I enjoy their company. I think they enjoy mine. So, you know, I will pick up my nieces every weekend if that's what I have to do at that point in my life. But I have not lost hope just yet. Some days I do feel like super hopeless. Like, oh, I'm never gonna have kids. I wholeheartedly believe that one day I will get married because there's not like an age limit on getting married. But, you know, having kids, there is an age limit. So that concerns me. Also, child, the thing that I'm most worried about having kids is having twins. Like, I do not want to have twins. It's too much. It's just team too much. No twins, no triplets, no quadruplets, no none of that. I don't want none of that. But if I do have twins, it's one and done. Like, I'm not having no more kids after that. I really don't want more than 2 kids anyway. But if you did not know, once you get into your 30s, you are more likely to have twins or multiples in general because your body is getting rid of multiple eggs because your body's preparing for menopause. So your body be doing a buy one get one on the eggs, which is why when you see like celebrities and stuff, a lot of them don't have kids until they're 30 plus. And that is why a lot of them have multiples, mostly twins, because your body just be throwing out the eggs. They like, we gotta get rid of these things. So, and I know a lot of people think like celebrities be having like fertility specialists and all that stuff. And I'm sure that is the case for some celebrities that have issues with like getting pregnant and stuff. But your body just be trying to get rid of the eggs. That's what be happening. Yeah. So I just want you to be aware of that. Also, my youngest 2 sisters are twins. I have cousins that are twins. Twins, both sides of the family. None of these people were in their 30s when they had these twins, and they're identical twins at that. Like, my cousins are identical twins. My sisters are identical twins. One of my cousins has twins, but the mother of his children, she was older than 30 when she had them. They're fraternal twins. You're most likely to have fraternal twins. If you have identical twins, that's something completely different. That's the same egg splitting into 2. I don't want that either. Yeah. So don't settle. Take your time. Make sure that you're getting everything that you want out of the relationship. Make sure you and your partner are on the same page when it comes to how you want to raise your children, finances, your overall goals. Like, if you like to travel, don't be dating somebody that don't like to travel, honey, because you're going to be stuck in a house, or you're going to have to travel with your friends. And like, don't you want like your life partner to be the person that you're traveling with? At least that's what I want for me. Like, my ex-boyfriend likes to travel. I like to travel. I'm trying to see the world. He trying to see the world. Period. Like, and that's why I don't want a bunch of kids. I just want one or two kids, cause these kids finna see the world too. Like, ain't nobody, ain't no kids finna stop me and how I'm living. Of course, in the beginning, like, I'm not finna take a newborn to Paris, but once my kids get like 4, 5, baby, spring break, we're out of here. Like, winter break, we're out of here. Like, we about to be in Jamaica. We about to be in South Africa. We about to be, like, the passports is going to be stamped. That's what I want for my kids. Every now and then we can drop them off. Plenty of people drop them off with plenty, both sides of the family. So, finna drop these kids off. But also, finna take them with me sometimes. And also, I just want to throw this message out there for all of my Black women. I know y'all want to be loyal to the culture and to the Black community, but don't be afraid to date outside your race. Like, I've been telling my friend, I'm like, girl, we need to start dating outside our race. Like, we need to get out there and see what these other men have to offer. And finally, she listened to me. She went out on a date with a white man, and she said he was such a gentleman. Not that there aren't Black men, there are gentlemen as well, but it was just, it was just a different experience for her. She was like, he was like pulling out her chair, grabbing every door, like, it was, they went to like a really nice restaurant. He was like, whatever you want. Like, you want a drink, you want appetizer, like, and like I said earlier, or just to let you know, it's the same friend that's in her mid 30s. So like her age range is like mid 30s to early 40s. So things are a little different in that age bracket anyway. Like, the people that you would be dating would be more financially secure. So, that also plays a factor into like, oh, order whatever you want. Like, and I told her, like, she was dating guys off the Black app and the experience was not good. I'm like, girl, like previously in the, prior to now, when I was in my 20s, I was like, yeah, I used to be on Tinder. I'm like, I've met like accountants, chefs, all types of men with real jobs on there. And she got off of Black because, child, I definitely want to have her on, and I just want her to share her experience about like the different dating apps and how different the experience is. But she was basically running into a bunch of bums. To make a long story less long, she was running into bums. She switched over to Tinder, and she's finding better quality men who don't live at their aunt house or their mama house or their sister, brother, cousin house. They have real jobs, not that I'm one to talk about real jobs, but just a different experience, a different caliber of men that more so have their shit together. And I love that for her. And she's having a much better dating experience now that she's gotten off of Black. I've never been on the Black app. I've never downloaded it. I don't know what's on there, so I cannot speak from personal experience. Mostly if I'm on a dating app, it's usually Tinder. I tried Bumble. I don't really care for Bumble. It's okay. That whole 24 hours thing I don't like that. But yeah, like, date outside your race, get to know these other people, and a lot of times we have to face texture discrimination and colorism within our community. But like, when you date, like, for instance, a white guy, they really don't see like those things. Like, to white people, Black people are just Black people. Like, the whole light skin and dark skin thing doesn't matter to them because it's not a part of their culture. I will say in other cultures, like the light skin, dark skin thing does matter, like in the Hispanic community or Latinx, I should say. Like Indian people, like, they have lighter Indians and then like darker Indians and Middle Eastern, and colorism plays a part in the other communities. But for white people, they don't see all that. They just see a black woman. They don't care like how kinky your hair is, all that stuff. They just know it's different from theirs. So do that, girl. Do that, girl. Do it. And let me know about if you have dated outside your race. Let me know about your experience. I personally have never dated outside of my race. Every single guy I've ever dated was black. So that's why, like, I'm like, girl, we need to branch out, see what's out here. And yeah, I mean, these black women that be dating outside their race, they be looking real happy on TikTok. But people post their happy moments on social media anyway, so they don't really be too much on the struggles. But yeah, like, I definitely want my friend to come on and let's talk about it. So I just got to get with her and figure out what her schedule is. But I encourage you, experience the world, experience somebody else's culture. So I want to give you guys some helpful information, some helpful tips with dating. And I will say, the past couple guys that I've dated, I did ask these questions, and it really didn't weed out the things that I needed it to weed out, because niggas be lying. Like, I'm telling you up front what I'm looking for, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm looking for the same thing. And then it's like a couple months later, it's just like, yeah, not, you are not on the same page as me. Like, I'm not looking for something so serious. It's just like, but I told you in the beginning I was looking for something serious, young man. But anywho, for the real ones out there, some questions that you could possibly ask when you start dating someone else. First things first. First of all, these are questions that you need to ask yourself as well. And I tell my friend this. I'm like, you have to date with intention. Like, what is your intention when you're going out into the dating world? Like, are you looking for something long term? Are you looking for a commitment? Do you want a husband? Are you looking for the father of your children? Do you want to date someone who has kids? No kids? I will say, when I was in my 20s, I was avoiding people who had kids because I don't have any kids. I didn't have no kids then. I don't got no kids now. So that was one thing I wasn't really looking for. As I've gotten older, it's slim pickings on the men who ain't got no kids. So I'm a little bit more open to dating men with children now. My ex-boyfriend ain't got no kids, so I'm gonna stick with you. I want to stick with you. I think we make a great pair. But anywho, so asking the person, are they looking for a commitment? Do they want to get married? Do they want to have children? Do they already have children? How do they want to raise their children? If they have children already, what's the relationship like with the mother of their children? You should write down your deal breakers before you start dating as well. And I'll get into that in a little bit. But, going over each other's deal breakers, your spiritual beliefs, because that's super important in relationships. I said this earlier, but financial goals, finances, and spiritual beliefs, political beliefs, all that stuff are contributing factors when it comes to divorce. So those are things you kind of want to get out in the open in the beginning. So once you get down the aisle, that's not a point of contention in your marriage. What your love languages are, how do you handle conflict, and how you currently handle conflict and how you want to handle conflict in your relationship. I think that is super important. And these are things that I've learned after me and my ex-boyfriend broke up. I feel like if I knew these things beforehand, I feel like our relationship would have been much better. Communication skills is also something that I've worked on since breaking up with my ex-boyfriend. These are the things that I wish I knew that I know now. And the lesson had to be learned. I would definitely say, even if you're not in a relationship, to listen to relationship podcasts, because for me, that was something that really helped me figure out the things that I wanted in a relationship, and like healthy habits and things that just make a successful relationship. I personally was listening to the Love Hour with Kev on Stage and his wife, Melissa, Mrs. Kev on Stage. They no longer make new episodes of the podcast, but you can always go back and listen to the old episodes, and those are on all the podcast platforms, as well as Mrs. Kev on Stage's YouTube channel. You can go back and listen to those, and they had a lot of experts on there, therapists, sex therapists, relationship therapists on there, and a lot of other different type of guests, other married couples, things like that. And they also came out with a book called Marriage is Hard. I haven't gotten the book yet, but I do plan on buying the book and reading that as well. But just like getting helpful information that could give you a successful relationship, which could turn into a successful marriage if marriage is something that you want. Also, you don't have to get married if you don't want to get married. I want to get married. I want a family. I want my whole family to have the same last name. I want to get married. But also, let's get into deal breakers really quickly. So everybody has their own life experiences, and you can pull your deal breakers from previous relationships, but just a couple that are just like general things. It's like physical abuse, verbal and emotional abuse, substance abuse, and cheating. Those are pretty standard deal breakers. I think that should probably be in every relationship, especially anything dealing with abuse. And one of my friends, she didn't know that her ex-husband had a substance abuse problem until like later on in their relationship. I would have to let her speak on her own accord. I don't remember if she said she realized it before they got married or after they got married, but these things sometimes can be hidden and you don't really know. Or like for me, from my personal experience, like I dated someone, I kind of had an inkling that they had like a problem like with alcohol or just substances in general, but I couldn't quite, like I had just met the person, so I wasn't quite sure. Like I'm like but like I was observant, kind of paying attention to it. And then I later on found out that the person wasn't supposed to be drinking alcohol or taking like smoking weed or whatever. Like they were supposed to be completely sober. But I didn't know that, and I didn't find that out for like a long time afterwards. But like we used to drink together and stuff, but I didn't know because the person didn't tell me. But girl, it's sometimes easy to ignore red flags, especially in the beginning when you really like the person. But just being vigilant of red flags, and I don't know how many red flags someone should see before they be like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and head out. But I'm gonna say 3. If you see 3 red flags, girl, go ahead and head out. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't blame you for the 1 or the 2. But sometimes, you can address those issues that are red flags depending on how committed you are to the situation. And, you can go your separate ways. Also, I didn't mention this while I was talking about like the questionnaire for you when you meet someone, or like questions you should ask. But definitely sex is super important. I know like when you first get into a relationship, it's like kind of not taboo, but it's kind of uncomfortable sometimes to talk about sex in the beginning, especially like you want to figure out what somebody's intentions are as far as dating you. Because I know a lot of times it's like you just want to smash and pass and go about your business. So, I mean, I would say be vigilant with that as well. Just kind of pay attention to what the person is saying. They want you to come hang out their house and all that stuff. Um, unfortunately, it is like this, but for me, like if I was going on a date with somebody and it was like our first date, I wouldn't wear a dress or a skirt because I don't know why men think because you wear a dress or a skirt, that's like an invitation to take things further. Like, no, it sucks, but yeah, that's the thing. But wear what you want to wear. Like, no man should be entitled to your body. No man should think they're entitled to your body either. Like, all of the things, girl. But yeah, I think I'm pretty much done with this episode. I do want to talk more about dating and get more into the nooks and crannies. I think this is kind of just like an overview of dating in general and my personal experiences and what I'm looking for and what I want. And yeah, this is my first episode. If you guys have any tips for dating and you are watching this on YouTube, please feel free, put your comments down below. And I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say, because I definitely want to pass on more knowledge to more women so we can just be more educated and be more intentional about dating and about our lives and getting the most out of our experiences with, finding our life partner. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and part ways with you all. I will be posting another podcast next Friday. But y'all be blessed. Prayers up. Keep me in your prayers. It's been a rough year for you, girl. And yeah. I'm gonna pray for y'all too. Y'all pray for me and I'm gonna pray for y'all. And we gonna go into this next year on a whole new vibe. We gonna be popping. We gonna be popping, and we gonna accomplish all the things that we need to accomplish, honey. But yes, I will see you guys, or you guys will see me, hear me next week. Once again, follow me on all the streaming platforms, the podcast platforms, YouTube. Hit that subscribe. Also, follow me on TikTok and Instagram. And yeah, I will see you guys next week.